So all the different tanning solutions have different characteristics once they've tanned. Right here we have right here we have a white side of halibut that was tanned in cedar, and you can see it. There's a little bit of, you can tell it's the white side a little bit, but it's still rather dark, right? Yeah, still rather dark. Very card-like too, very brittle. Well, not brittle, you can't, you know, it's leather, right? You can't tear it. I tried working it here to loosen it up. So that is white side of cedar. This is a white side of the oak bark that I just showed you. And wow, that's real dark, isn't it? I think that's what it is. Yeah, white side oak. It's kind of red-like, you know, like if you can see through it a little bit, as it's translucent. Very dark. This has an egg emulsion on it, egg and olive oil. Then we have, these are 2 salmon skins that I did. This is cedar, I believe. Yeah, salmon in cedar bark. And this again does have the egg emulsion on it. Kind of softer than these, but these are a lot thicker. And then we have the pitch pine. The pitch pine with the egg emulsion. Again, both very dark. I was thinking the pitch pine would be a lot lighter. There is some silver that shows through with the pitch pine, but you know, not nearly enough for the striped bass. There is some stripes that showed through too. The pitch pine was the most successful of the ones that I had tried. Hang on a minute. This right jaw is a striped bass skin that was done in the pitch pine. Yeah, I think it was done in the pitch pine. Yeah, it was in the pitch pine, and you can see the silver. Well, I mean, it's now yellow, but this would be silver on the fish. Definitely came through. That was quite successful in the mediums that I was trying to use in the end result that I was going for. A beauty, eh? And then again, it's very card-like, very you know, like a manila envelope, like a thick manila envelope feel to it. Then we have the Sumac, and this is a fluke flounder that Mikey B, the legend Mikey B, caught. And it's very soft. It's very it's much more supple. And I did put an egg emulsion on it. It is much thinner, but it feels different. And the color, I mean, the color, it's like night and day, right? See the difference. The color is absolutely spot on what I was trying to accomplish, which is why I have a giant bucket of sumac for when striped bass season kicks off, and I can make proper scabbards with you know, something that looks different than that. And a white side and a dark side, you can't even tell the difference. Well, that is like 4 or 5 months worth of effort right there. Hope you guys appreciate that. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? And there's another stack over that OA that's even bigger than this. These are just the good explanation of what I have done visually. Visual explanation. Anyway, so I'm going to clean all this up and get ready. And through the magic of television, I have some skins that are ready to stretch. I'll show you what to look for if you wanted to try this yourself. And then how to stretch them, how to dry them, and then what to do after if you wanted to use an egg emulsion like this, or if you want to do the proper thing and get some Neat's foot oil and yeah, all that's coming up. Stay tuned. It's going to be awesome.
You're watching Fishmonger Jim. Yeah.
So this is the Sumac. You can tell by the antler. It's got an antler on it. That one right there. That is the antler. Well, I don't think it's called an antler, but whatever. And we're gonna harvest a branch of this. In a second. There we go. All right. That's probably suitable for what I have planned. And we don't actually need this part. In fact, we're going to leave that here so it can reseed if that's what it's going to do. Right there. Yeah, that's good enough. All right, buddy, I'll get your steel for you. Okay, let's go. So the next thing you're going to want to do with your Sumac is get yourself some string and strategically tie the largest piece to the string. Should probably be this one. You tie it around the stem like a third of the way down. Just tie a square knot. Then you can take the other pieces and drop them on top of that string. You know, kind of around the same kind of distance above it. Just drop a limb over the string, and that's enough to hold it as it is drying, which is what we're going to do with it next. I will go with a couple of them. That it? No, there's one more. Now you want to keep this from, you got to keep it kind of indoors. You don't want it to get rained on. Any kind of mold is bad. Okay. And then I had, where'd you put it, Joe? Did I knock it off onto the floor? Oh. No. What the heck? I just had it. Take another one. Or grab another one, rather. A little hook. Something like that. Are you even seeing it? Yeah, and then just tie a loop knot. You want to hang these up to dry in a very, very simple explanation of what I'm doing. Oh, I hung it on the ceiling already. That's what I did with it.
Jim, what's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you, Jim?
That's it.
Jim.
And we're just gonna leave that there until it's dry. Probably like 4 or 5 days, till it's crispy, till you can grab the leaf and they crinkle. Well, good morning there, Jigs. Did you have a good sleep? How you doing, buddy? Hi. What do we got up there? Hi, buddy. Hey, bud. It's hot, isn't it, bud? It's hot. Must be tough being a black dog in the middle of summer, huh? Right, so this has been drying for, well, geez, probably 2 or 3 weeks now. Oh, no, it's been a week and a half. And it is, it's too dry, to be clear. It's gonna make a mess, but it's, definitely ready to take off the stems and be used. So, I do this outside would be much better. I can't be bothered. So, I'll make a mess. And it's just a matter of taking the leaves off the stems just like that. So that's about twice the amount that you saw. I had 2 bunches the size that you saw hanging. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to take some of these leaves, probably about a quarter of what's in there, and we're going to jam them into this. This is a hop boiling bag for home brewing or winemaking. You could use cheesecloth or a sock. You know, I could probably use a sock if I didn't have this. Like I said, about a quarter of what's here. And I have enough water coming to a boil to fill this container. This is 8 pounds, 102, that's a gallon. That's 1 gallon. So all that minus this much. I didn't break this one up, it's very fluffy. All that, what you just saw, broke down to that. Doesn't look like a whole lot, does it? I'm gonna add this to the other sumac that I have already to go for tanning straight bass skin this fall. That's what all this is for. That's what all this is about. All this figuring and working and trying to understand. That's all for straight bass skin. Oh boy. I'm thinking a tuna skin might be kind of neat. Very tough. Make a tuna skin wallet or something. So, incidentally, you can. The bark it has a lot of tannins in it as well. So you can use the sticks. You can use the bark. You can't use the fruit though. The fruit has too much acid in it, and it will cook the skins. Okay, so I have some stones here to weigh this down, to weigh this bag down. Go ahead and pop them in there, and we will tie the neck of this thing up. I think my water's boiling. Pardon me. Yeah. Oh yeah. So we're gonna add some salt to this. I'm not gonna, it's down there, I'm not gonna get it right this second, but salt does need to go in. The bag is going to go in, and we're gonna let it boil for about 12 to 15 minutes. Yeah, 12 to 15 minutes on a low boil simmer, and we'll get all the tannins extracted from the sumac, and then we're gonna let it sit until it's very cool. We could put ice in it to speed it up, but I'm in no hurry. Meanwhile, I'll show you what I'm gonna do with the fillet, and I do have a mahi fillet. I got a mahi fillet for tanning today. All right, so oof. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and refrigerate this as it's tanning. It's been in the container for a minute, so it should be as fresh as possible. Like I said, I got this a couple days ago, and I went ahead and carefully removed all the scales, all that I could. When I say carefully, I mean as to not tear the outside of the skin, and then the inside I went ahead and scraped all of the meat, any of the meat that was attached to the skin still. Just took a knife, a fillet knife, and scraped it sideways to get all the meat off it. These fibrous pieces here, they're not really going to matter. You could go ahead and trim them. It's been my experience that if you go pulling on them, you'll never get to the end of them. They really don't bother me. It's collagen. It'll tan. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and rinse this in soapy water right before we add it to the tanning solution. That's gonna be, probably 4 hours from now. But I will rinse this off again. Maybe rinse it and leave it in some salted water. Okay, it is now the day after yesterday or tomorrow, and I think our tanning solution is oh yeah, it's good to go. It's got this skin on top. Interesting. This is a tricky one. This sumac. It's a very effective tanning solution, but it's different than all the rest that I've done. Now you do not want to make this too far in advance. The sumac will, this liquid here, this liquor, will ferment, and it does weird things when it ferments. So you don't want to. You want to use it. You want to make it as you need it, not too far in advance. I do have. Hang on a second. I have made. That's good. The other tanning solutions that I've made have been fine. Have been fine to make in advance. In fact, I have. Hold on a second. I'll show you. This right here, it's a little slimy on the outside, but this is oak. An oak bark tanning solution that I made, 4 months ago, and it's been in my hot studio all summer long, and it has not degraded or deteriorated or changed really in any way. It's a little bit thicker because it's reduced, but totally still functional, totally still usable. The only thing with the oak is that it produces a much darker end product. Much darker. So the idea behind the sumac is that, I don't think it's gonna preserve the yellow in the mahi skin too much. But it should, these dark flecks should translate through to the end product, which is why I'm intrigued with the Sumac and why it's going to be a great choice for the striped bass skin. So I did add salt and water to this, so I don't need to necessarily add salt to that, and it smells fine. So again, no flesh, no meat on the flesh side, and as few scales as possible. The mahi's difficult because it's got lancet shaped scales, not ovular or round. So we'll pull the rest out after it tans a bit. So as this mahi skin is now 3 days, it's 3 days since I cut it, it's not of the highest quality anymore. You do want to use the freshest skins that you can, and being as this is not necessarily fresh any longer, we're going to refrigerate it for the first stretch of its tanning, which would be probably the first the first 3 days at least, maybe the first week. We'll see how she goes. That's a pretty powerful tanning solution, as witnessed by the color of it. Very dark. Add a little bit of salt. There we go. All right, so we'll put a lid on that as soon as I find one. And Vivo. We'll put a date on the top. And all right, hang on a second. I'll be right back. So this is my first attempt with the Sumac, and this is a piece of halibut. Oh, I don't even want to call it leather. I mean, it did tan. It actually, this is where the Sumac, I believe it fermented, that the tanning solution fermented, increasing the acid content, and it actually burned. It burned the skin. Plus, I don't know if you can hear that, it's got these bubbles in it, where I think the halibut, it was prior to me putting it into the tanning solution, it was laden with bacteria. It had spoiled, and I didn't refrigerate it, and I think that's where this separation came from. There was a bunch of like stuff that oozed up to the surface of the liquid, completely unusable. But you know, like I gotta figure out what everything's about, so had to stretch it just to see. Yeah, I'll hang on to that and show Goyakle Redtail, who's going to be receiving most of these. Here's the I didn't scale. Actually, that's interesting. Wait a minute. Yeah, this is the flesh side, or no, this is the skin side. These are the scales that are subdermal. This would be on the inside. This would be on the flesh side. Very cool. Subdermal. There's a lot more scales under the skin than there are exposed on the skin by the looks of things. How about that? Am I correct in that? Yeah, I am correct in that. This is the outside. This is the inside. You can tell by the collagen fibers. Subdermal scales. Check that out. I did learn something by stretching this. That's awesome. All right, let me put this away. So the stretchers. This one I made with some kind of ass rash wood. You touch this wood and then you touch your ass, you get an ass rash. I don't know what kind of wood it is, but it's you don't want to handle this and not wash your hands before you go rubbing your face or your unmentionables. Then we got kind of the same same dealio. This is just for two, double panel. And then, where's that other one? We've got the hoop kind. The hoop kind is just a sapling that was harvested in the spring and then twisted up on itself, like a snowshoe. They're all right. I kind of like the square ones, the more rigid ones, better, as these do. They do warp, as you can see, quite a bit. But they are convenient in that you can move the strings wherever you want them to get a nice flat surface on them. And they're real easy to make. Piece of string and a sapling, right? All free. So this is very interesting. Some might say disgusting. A little bit of mold around the rim. I think that's mold. Ideally, if you were doing this, you wouldn't want to work 9 days a week and not check them for a month and a half at least. It's been probably a month and a half. And again, this is halibut. So we have this is the warm water extraction halibut. I'm hoping this is done because I'm all ready to stretch it. Oh, that doesn't feel like it's done. That doesn't feel like it's completely done. I think it's done enough. It should be the same color throughout. Maybe you can see a little bit of discoloration there, a little bit of lightness. I'm gonna go ahead and change this liquid out. What do you think? Probably needs it, huh? So this one is the hot water extraction, the method that you just saw me do with boiling it. This one is the cold water extraction, and that, I guess that's maybe bacteria. Did I just make kombucha?
Jim, what's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you, Jim, buddy?
I was thinking it was either protein or like collagen. Maybe that's a bacterial colony, like the kombucha. That's disgusting. Whatever it is, we're gonna throw that right in the fuck it bucket. So this one here, this one was the problem. It has all this stuff on the surface. You see that? I know, knowing it, just having seen what I just saw with the subdermal scales, I'm assuming that is coming from the scales, because there's really no way to remove the scales effectively on the halibut, as they are so buried. This one's a lot more tanned than the light side. Interesting. So I'm thinking I take this to the hose and maybe get a scrub brush on it and get rid of that stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so these they cleaned up nicely, and as this one has a few spots that are just not completely tanned. I really can't wait any longer. This is a project that I need to finish. Well, this is for a project that I need to finish. It could tan for another week in a new solution and it would be just fine. It's just fine now too, though. So we're gonna go like every 1.5 to 2 inches around the perimeter. The halibut skin is kind of tough, so you can go kind of close to the edge. Halibut skin is quite tough, actually. go quite close to the edge. Any pointy, any parts that poke out, you need to put a hole there, and then any points that go in, these don't have it, so have to imagine what I'm talking about. So I tried fitting both of these skins in. This is a snake head right here, already tanned. I tried fitting both of these in the double stretcher, and yeah, I probably could do it, but it wouldn't be easy. So I'm going to do this one in the small hoop stretcher, and then I'm going to do the dark side in the stretcher that's made from the ass rash tree. And maybe two here. I'll just put one there. Right. So I'll put another one there. Now yeah, equal parts egg yolk, previously frozen egg yolk, because that's all I got, and olive oil. We're gonna paint both sides, and then we're gonna go ahead and stretch the dark side on the ass rash tree stretcher. Yeah, that's it. I mean, looks pretty good for having not paid any mind to it at all for at least a month. Yeah, generally you could probably do this if you switched out the tanning solution, and switched it out, kept it refrigerated for the first week, and then switched it out with fresh Sumac, pre-boiled Sumac solution. You could probably do this, you know, like tan it fully in, I would say, 3 weeks. So why egg and oil, you might be asking? So the egg and oil makes up what's called an emulsion, and an emulsion is the combination of incompatible ingredients. So the oil and water, ultimately the water that is left within the halibut skin, the egg allows the oil to penetrate into the skin, into the watery bits of the skin, and the oil, what winds up happening is as the skin, as the leather dries, the fibers that are created, the leather fibers, the collagen that has been turned to leather, what winds up happening is, right now they're all flexible, they're being lubricated by the water, which is why you have a malleable, you know, movable piece of fish skin or leather. But as it dries, these junctions between the collagen, between the fibers of the skin, they dry rigid, they dry solid, they dry hard, and it doesn't give you a very malleable piece of leather. So what the emulsion does, the the egg yolk allows the oil to penetrate these junctions. So the vehicle is the water, and the egg yolk, it allows the oil to penetrate into these junctions between the fibers of collagen, and it gives it a little bit more flexibility. If we didn't put the oil on it, hang on. If we didn't put the emulsion on it, this is what it would be. It would be very crispy. It wouldn't dry properly. It wouldn't be very malleable at all. It would be inconsistent. So the emulsion, oil, and what it also kind of it levels out the areas. It makes it all more uniform when it dries as well. It retards the drying of it, the oil does, so that it becomes a more unified piece.